I'll help you if I can. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've been reading things about what they call the faithful slave.
Uh huh.
Yeah, so that's a very important thing. It seems like, right? It's like a core belief. That's where, like, they get stuff from Jehovah, and then it comes to the people type thing.
Um, you could say that. Yeah, it's mostly what we find in the Bible is what we take as from Jehovah and Bible principles that reflect his thinking.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I heard a man, one of the leaders, say that on a video. That
Uh
like
huh.
they're telling you what's from Jehovah. I mean, they're not just reciting a Bible verse, but it's way beyond that, kind of, right?
Well, I don't think they claim. I don't know, which video you saw,
Uh
but
huh.
that there's like that the governing body is like inspired or um, um, getting um, direct messages, from God, so to speak.
Yeah,
but
yeah. I mean,
but anyway,
it's really
yeah.
interesting that you would bring that up in relation to them saying that because it was on a thing called broadcasting. Um, and it's really logical that you bring up the connection with being inspired because it's exactly what inspired means. At the same time, I find places where they say they're not inspired. So if that isn't inspired, I'm not sure what is, right? That the direction comes from Jehovah to Jesus down through them, right?
Well, I missed a little bit of what you said there. Let me close the door here. There's
Okay,
some folks out in the other room talking.
okay.
Say that last part
Well,
again.
I like how you connected them saying that the direction comes from Jehovah to Jesus to them, through them to the people, with the word inspired, because you're totally right. That's what inspired means. But at the same time, I found things where they insist they're not inspired. So, can you reconcile that to me? I'm just trying to wrap my head around it.
Well, let me see here if I have. Uh, I'm in the library here at the Kingdom Hall. Let's see.
How far back does the library go?
What's that?
How far back do the books in the library go?
Oh, there's some back to the 50s and the 60s in here.
Oh, that's all?
But there's actually some. Yeah, every library is different as
Oh,
far as the
okay.
actual physical books because
Okay.
most of the current things are online. So let's see.
There is a site that has posted all of them because they are digitized. I don't know why they don't put them on, the online library so people could research the history, from their
Yeah,
own publications. But it's called Watchtower Wayback. It's not like to be mean to them or anything. It's just like an archival type site.
yeah,
Yeah, Watchtower
right, right.
Wayback. If you ever need to look.
Well, this is one of the publications in the library here.
Uh huh.
It's a book about Revelation, and in
Uh
the
huh.
introduction, it says here, it is not claimed that the explanations in this publication are infallible. Like Joseph of old, we say, do not interpretations belong to God. So, um, we actually often update our beliefs and change our beliefs and feel that, maybe we didn't have a full understanding and um, the scripture in Psalms, can't think of it off the top of my head, but it talks about the light gets brighter as time goes by. So, yeah, we don't claim that, everything we've ever written is, you know, um, infallible, can't be changed, is, necessarily the final word on a matter, because, as I say, every year we have updates on understandings of things that become clear.
Okay.
So,
Well, the thing is, though, that as I'm reading these things and researching it, they use a lot of equivalent expressions for inspired without saying inspired so that they can deny it as well. And also, the level of obedience that they require wouldn't be legitimate unless they were inspired and speaking, as that one governing body member said, the direction comes from Jehovah, essentially. Like
ultimately,
that.
direction.
Yeah, go ahead.
Or,
Sorry.
yeah, I mean, anybody who has a religious belief, if they're believing to the best of their understanding and interpreting the scriptures in the best way that they can, they should believe that is, from God's direction from God and God's will. But, there again, even the apostles that Jesus had, the 12 apostles had misunderstandings at the time he was on the earth, and at that time he didn't fully explain everything that was going to happen to them, but later on things became more clear. So
But could I ask you a question about your analogy? Were they teaching those things like were they asking questions, or is that the same as publishing something earth-wide, as though it's from Jehovah, saying, it's and claiming to be God's only channel on earth?
They didn't have that technology back then anyway.
No, they weren't preaching. Okay, were they preaching it to large crowds at that time? Or were they just asking questions?
It's in the Bible. That's a worldwide publication.
Yeah, it's in the Bible that they were asking questions. They were not teaching these things. Like if you read the epistles, or in the New Testament, they weren't teaching whatever the apostles or disciples thought at that time. That was in Jesus' earthly life. That's asking him a question. I would love to ask Jesus questions. So that's a false analogy. Yeah, that's a false analogy, because we're talking about 11 men that claim to be the only channel of truth on earth, and they're publishing things as from Jehovah. Some people even die over it, and many adjust their whole life to it.
Yeah, well, clearly, you have a different viewpoint on things that I respect. Everybody that is one of Jehovah's Witnesses, becomes one voluntarily, and if a person doesn't agree, they don't have to adhere to the teachings. But let me mention this. I am with a group of folks. We're just heading out the door to do some of our home visitations. So I've got some people waiting on me. I'd be happy to talk to you again later if it's convenient, if you'd like. But we are planning on heading out right now.
Okay, no problem. Okay. Yeah, I also wondered, like, why did it take them until 2012 to define who the slave is? Because they've changed that itself. So, and they're trying to equate it with like the Jerusalem Council and try to make people think that was a governing body, when before they said the slave was like Charles Russell or the 144,000 or the anointed in the governing body. So which one is really true? So did they have the right slave before they decided it was 11 men, the governing body? I mean, they both can't be right?
Well, as I mentioned, our understanding of things has evolved over time, and we've never claimed to be infallible.
Okay,
and,
so they taught that they mistaught who was the slave for a really, really long time. So how were they getting the spiritual food right if those people weren't even the real slave? Or is this one just tenuous? Could they change it to just one person eventually, maybe, right?
a lot of speculative questions that I wouldn't be qualified to
Okay.
answer right now.
Okay. Thanks for being so
But,
nice to me.
well, absolutely.
Okay.
You know, anybody, we invite folks to ask questions for sure.
Great.
So,
Great. Thanks so much.
all right.
God
Thank
bless you. Okay. Talk to you
too.
later.
Take
Bye.
care.